Are you sure you're putting in the right password? This tale is sort of a hybrid of tech support plus customer-sided. I think it's a good fit for this sub and that maybe the readers here would enjoy it, but please remove this if you feel like it breaks rules. I used to work from home for a company that hired and trains call center agents, and I'm sure you're all intimately familiar with how bad individuals in a boring office setting can be with tech. Of course it got worse when people were working from home. I know it, you know it, everyone knows it. I'm very aware of the nonsense tech support has to slog through, and I absolutely hate wasting people's time, so whenever I had issues I made sure to preemptively do whatever I needed to make the tech's life easier. Turn the computer on and off again, made sure everything was plugged in, make sure the monitor didn't accidentally get shut off, whatever I could. Because of this, I cleared up most of my issues on my own. It helped my team's manager a lot because the rule of thumb was, if I was down, everyone was down. On this specific day, the login was giving me issues that I was putting in the wrong password. Checked for caps lock, made sure my strokes were going through, so no missed or dull inputted key presses, still no luck. At this point I figure maybe I accidentally locked myself out trying to solve the situation on my own. Sure, that's fine, it happens. I go to the website for self-troubleshooting, and request a manual password reset. It asks you to put in some identifying information yourself and input a new password. Pretty standard, have done this many times before. Try to log in, still no luck. Same as before, rinse and repeat. Now this has never happened to me before. I've locked myself out a small handful of times but I've always gotten it taken care of, but resetting into a lockout has never happened. So instead of logging into my work PC through the VPN, I did a login without the VPN, which gutted whatever access I had to my computer, but it at least let me put in a support request ticket. The ticket system we have to go through that we had to fill out for issues that includes very standard stuff. Which domain you logged in, what type of VPN you had, hardware info, etc. It always starts off with a text chat. A few minutes after submitting my ticket, a tech reaches out to me and asks me if I put in the right info. I say yes. He resets it for me manually on his end and asks me to try it again. Do the same thing. Same results. Are you sure you're putting in the right info? Yes, I'm sure. Another couple of resets, and at this point I'm worried there's something wrong with my keyboard despite doing everything in my power to confirm my inputs were right. I could tell the tech was growing increasingly more frustrated with me, and I'm pretty sure he was rolling his eyes at this huge case of users always lie. At this point I felt like I was both stupid and or crazy. I was promptly escalated to Tier 3 support. Tier 3 is always a live call when you work from home, and he went through the standard fare did you turn it off and on again and reviewed the entire log of the ticket thus far. The tech manually reset my password just like before but told me to type my password into the user box so we could visibly see if my input was correct, and copy-paste it. We did this, and now we knew without a shadow of a doubt that I'm not misentering my password, and that there's also no issue with my keyboard not parsing properly. Which to me, is a relief. The tech I was now working with was a guy in his late 40s early 50s, and he's seen some SHT, and it was the first time he's ever seen anything like it. The fix took a long time of active back and forth between me and the tech, easily over an hour. There was a lot of backdoor manual VPN shenanigans, and multiple reinstalls, or reimages. It was a long time ago, and I've forgotten what happened for the most part. From my understanding, it looks like there was some glitch in the matrix where my user key went ghost in the system, so no amount of password resets would help me because my username didn't exist in the database anymore. The password resets were all successes, and my login info was correct. I wasn't able to log in. All of this was mutually exclusive. Anyways, it ended with the tech saying I've never seen anything like this, in a pretty positive tone. Maybe the absurdity of it all was refreshing, or maybe the bug was interesting to try to work through. He finished by manually re-registering my user credentials in the database, and the reinstalling of my work VPN before letting me go and resolving my ticket. Every once in a while I think about how I probably frustrated that tech. I hope he's having a good day right now. Story 2. Again, I'm not tech support. Whilst usually Ukitern2 has major projects in various stages of implementation and planning, usually he gets drafted to help look at issues that frontline support, T2, and T3 can't solve. In one issuance it's a blessing to spend hands-on time with hardware, other times it's a curse of the position of being both good at the cloudly stuff and running a home lab and keeping those physical practical skills up to date. Sitting at his desk, Ukitern2 is on call. Usually these last in shifts for 24/7 operations, but usually shifts last a day or so at most. SLA doesn't really matter so long as the problem gets fixed under best effort, as most companies we deal with don't have that level of support. Those clients that do pay extra for a specialist team, Everything we do is billable to the client at a very high rate for those clients who don't pay for a support contract. Our side do not get called out to site, as it's usually a very billable event. Boss, we need you to look at a weird error going on with $clients, network, it's been right through support several times and we can't figure it out. The budget has been assigned to take a look, but if we solve it, it will be a major feather in our cap with $client, $2, you got it boss. A few hours later $2 ends up on the $clients site and going through the problem with their company support staff. What seems like the printer not being available for a few hours, transpires both us and them were out looking at it to be a backhaul network issue. Generally we don't deal with printers, but as it involves payroll and accounting we have to care. In the program management's offices, which are quite large with a split partition between employees and hot desks. Ethernet plugged into network switch plugged into core router. Ping's OK, traceroute OK, general basic diagnostics check out. Currently the printer is available to the network and responding to ping. Core switch is in the server rack and network switch for the room is in the corner office of the floor of the office, which turns out is the access switch. Checking the ports of the access switch means being in the accountant's office. Whilst doing this, a man pops his head into the room U2 is in and says that he needs help with his computer now. Whilst formulating a response the man becomes irate and says if he doesn't he's fired. Must be serious U2 thought. U2 makes it clear he doesn't work for the company. Man, I don't care if you are a temporary contractor, I want this fixed now. U2, I think you misunderstand, I work for $company, your accountancy soft. I'm not IT support. Man, waves violently, now. Face turns red, U2 gets greeted to the hot desk on the clearly marked program management set of desks which clearly doesn't have Ethernet but for some reason his docking station suspiciously does. Looking at the issue appears to be that his laptop isn't getting internet via Ethernet through his dock to his laptop. And the Wi-Fi is abysmally bad. Man, see. U2, but wait, this is the project desk, how are you getting Ethernet? I've checked the switch over there and the plans and I don't see any Ethernet for these hot desks. Man, we have points that we bought from supplier that we use off that object. U2 traces the cable to find a garbled mess of wires from one of the wired desks. An Ethernet hub? U2, but it's not configured correctly, that can't surely be a hub? U2 becomes curious and asks how it's powered. Well, it's in the 4-gang switch that gets switched on from the hot desk. It's not a hub but a cable router with DHCP. Holy guacamole. U2 thinks to himself. And grabs local IT and the company IT manager to look at this. Between the wireless, ancient Cat5 cabling, the router and some network devices that have clearly been there since the late 2000s. And just repurposed. U2 hears the IT manager say, hey, is that the old Netgear switch? The man interrupts that one of the program managers had rolled off one of the jacks and had rolled his own mini network within the network to the program manager's desks. Clearly no one thought to tell local IT at company this. As they start untangling the mess to assess the damage. Clearly the printer and some other devices were getting a different DHCP reservation because of the unauthorized hardware. Also known as shadow IT. Plugged into the network, doing stuff it shouldn't be. U2, well this looks like your problem, shadow IT manager, guess since you solved it, you're looking for a payout for the printer? I think this should come from their budget, since it's their issue? Office politic ensues for 10 minutes. U2, sorry, would you mind if I leave and head back to my office? Happy to mark up the ticket for payment and close the issue. Would you mind if I test the theory? Just to be sure? IT manager nods. After testing that the printer indeed is getting the wrong DHCP reservation, or rather the kind of right one but behind a NAT created by said device. All our pings and trace routes were on that network segment in that room, hence no one noticed. IT manager, looking a bit like an idiot that he didn't notice the problem, so the price will be, $cost, from call-out fees, time spent on site etc.? U2, I'll ticket it up so you get the hours and I'll also raise up which budget it will come out of. Hey look, if it wasn't for this, man, I might never have known myself, so don't put yourself down. IT manager looks like he took some solace in the understanding. Man, what do you mean? You work for us? U2, again, I'm not tech support. On getting up the ticket, adding his hours and also adding comprehensive notes. He awaits payment, quite a hefty sum by some standards, but a job well done. Not just the hours but the call-out fee. Going to be quite the payday. U2 thought to himself.